Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another video. I hope everyone's having a great day. Before watching the video, please subscribe and like it. Todd Chrisley breaks silence on imminent legal trouble over tax evasion. Todd Chrisley, the reality television personality known for his outspoken demeanor and larger-than-life persona, has come forward with a dramatic revelation that could shake the foundations of his public image and the franchise built around his family brand. During a candid and emotional disclosure, Chrisley stated that he believes he will be formally charged with tax evasion within the coming days, a development that brings renewed scrutiny to his financial affairs and potential legal battles. Chrisley, who rose to fame through the popular reality series that chronicles the trials, triumphs, and tensions of his tight-knit Southern family, has never been one to shy away from controversy. But the gravity of this potential charge represents a new chapter that even his most devoted fans may find difficult to reconcile with the image of a successful businessman and father he has so carefully cultivated. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Chrisley addressed supporters and critics alike with a message that blended defiance with uncertainty. He acknowledged the looming threat of charges related to his taxes, expressing frustration and confusion over what he described as a complicated and deeply personal financial matter. He denied any intentional wrongdoing, emphasizing that his business dealings had been reviewed by numerous professionals over the years. Still, the admission that he anticipates formal charges soon marks a significant departure from his previous stances, which were often marked by absolute confidence and pointed rebuttals of any allegations. As he spoke of the challenges ahead, Chrisley appeared both combative and contemplative, revealing a man caught between his public role and private concerns. Legal experts weighing in on the situation noted that a charge of tax evasion is no small matter if pursued. Such a case would likely hinge on the examination of Chrisley's income reporting, expenditures, offshore accounts, and the structures through which he has managed personal and business assets. Given the high-profile nature of the case, prosecutors may also be under pressure to demonstrate thoroughness and transparency in their actions. This is not the first time financial issues have cast a shadow over the Chrisley family. In the past, there have been reports and rumors concerning unpaid taxes, debts, and disputes with former employees or associates. These issues, while never fully clarified publicly, have long fueled speculation about the true nature of the family empire shown on television, which includes lavish homes, designer wardrobes, and frequent travel. What makes this situation particularly sensitive is its timing and the way it intersects with broader themes of celebrity accountability, trust, and the limits of curated public images. With audiences increasingly skeptical of reality television personas, the question of authenticity looms large for Chrisley, a man who has built a brand around control and presentation. The unfolding legal drama represents a potential loss of both. Support from his family remains a constant, at least publicly. Several of his children have taken to social media to express their love and confidence in their father. While declining to comment on the specifics of the situation, their messages have centered on themes of unity, resilience, and faith, all long-standing motifs in the Chrisley narrative. Yet, as the week unfolds and the possibility of charges becomes more real, the tone around the family may shift. Public perception often swings dramatically in high-profile cases, especially when legal developments suggest deliberate misconduct rather than mere oversight. If charges are filed, Chrisley may find himself not only defending his freedom, but also the legacy of his media presence. The implications of such a case would extend beyond Chrisley himself, touching on the networks and production companies involved with his shows, as well as advertisers and affiliated brands. Already, some insiders have reportedly begun distancing themselves in anticipation of potential fallout. While no formal statements have been issued, the atmosphere around the franchise has grown noticeably quieter. In media culture, stories like these can evolve rapidly. What begins as an announcement or a prediction can soon snowball into a legal saga with lasting consequences for careers, reputations, and even industries as audiences look for clarity. One thing is certain: the coming days will be critical in determining the trajectory of Todd Chrisley's future, both legally and publicly. Todd Chrisley shares details about the once proud patriarch of a well-known reality television family is finally breaking his silence and opening up about the ordeal that brought his life to a standstill. Speaking out from within the controlled silence of federal confinement, he reflects on the long, winding road that led from luxury to lockdown. For years, viewers watched as Todd projected a life of perfection, prosperity, and Southern charm. But behind the polished exterior and quick-witted remarks was a reality built on shaky financial ground. Now, for the first time since his sentencing, Todd is sharing details about the tax issues that engulf his family in scandal and ultimately cost him his freedom. Todd Chrisley has never been one to hide from the spotlight. Known for his bold opinions and sharp tongue, he built an empire based on personality and perfection. The show that bore his name captivated audiences, presenting him as a strict but loving father who managed both his business and his household with precision. What fans did not see were the mounting financial pressures, the audits, the looming questions from federal investigators, and the growing sense that the life being portrayed on screen was drifting further and further from the truth. It all began, according to Todd, with a series of misguided decisions and misplaced trust. He admits to having allowed the wrong people into his financial world, people who promised protection and privacy, but ultimately delivered exposure and error. For Todd, the path toward trouble was not paved with malicious intent, but with denial, ambition, and a refusal to slow down. He says there were early signs that things were off: discrepancies in filings, questions from accountants, red flags raised by advisors. But in the haze of television fame and business expansion, those warnings were drowned out by the constant pressure to keep moving. Todd explains that he was not fully involved in every document that was signed, every form that was filed. That, he now sees, was his first mistake. Trusting too much and questioning too little led to gaps in reporting and eventually drew the attention of federal tax authorities. While he maintains that he never deliberately sought to defraud the government, he acknowledges that negligence and lack of oversight allowed errors to fester and expand. These mistakes, he says, became the seeds of a narrative that painted him as someone who felt above the law. As investigations deepened, Todd found himself in a position that felt increasingly surreal. The man who once boasted about his financial savvy on national television was now being accused of evasion, concealment, and deception. He remembers the day federal agents arrived, the way time seemed to freeze, the way his carefully constructed image began to crack. For the first time in his life, Todd was no longer in control of the story. The media rushed in, hungry for scandal. Headlines exploded. Viewers turned into critics. Fans became skeptics. From inside his current surroundings, Todd reflects on the court proceedings with a sense of disbelief. He says the experience of sitting in the courtroom, listening to lawyers dissect every aspect of his financial life, was humbling and painful. What hurt the most, he says, was the implication that he had lived a lie intentionally. For Todd, the truth is more complicated. He describes a pattern of emotional spending, of believing that appearances had to be maintained at all costs, of equating success with aesthetics. He bought into the myth that wealth equals worth, and he now believes that myth contributed heavily to his downfall. The sentencing, when it came, was a moment Todd describes as both devastating and clarifying. The reality of prison time was not something he ever imagined for himself. Yet in that moment, as he stood before a judge and listened to the outcome of years of financial missteps, Todd says he felt something unexpected. Had fallen. Relief. The race to uphold an image was over. What remained was a raw, painful truth. He was no longer a television character. He was a man facing consequences. Inside federal confinement, Todd has had time, an abundance of time, to reflect on every choice, every error, every justification he once gave himself. He says he has come to understand the depth of his denial, the ways in which pride clouded his judgment. It is easy, he now admits, to justify expenses when cameras are rolling. It is easy to overlook flaws when fans are applauding, but when the lights go off, when the applause fades, the truth remains. Todd's relationship with his faith has deepened during this period of isolation. He talks often about redemption, about second chances, about the power of honesty. While he still hopes for legal relief and is appealing parts of his conviction, he no longer defines himself solely by whether or not he is vindicated. Instead, he speaks about using this experience as a way to educate others, to share what he has learned, so that others do not repeat the same mistakes. He warns about the allure of image and the danger of believing one is untouchable. He speaks passionately about financial literacy, urging others, especially those in the public eye, to remain vigilant about what they sign, where their money goes, and who is handling their affairs. Todd says that if he had truly understood the consequences of inattention, he would have made very different choices. Now, he wants to be a cautionary tale, not a cautionary headline. Todd also shares the emotional toll this experience has taken on his family. His wife, who has also been sentenced in relation to the case, remains his anchor. Their children have had to navigate intense scrutiny, judgment, and upheaval. Todd worries most about the long-term impact this will have on them. He says the guilt he feels for dragging them into the storm is overwhelming at times, but he remains determined to show them that strength can still rise from shame. Letters from fans have continued to pour in. Some express anger. Others offer compassion. Todd reads each one with a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. He knows he let people down. He knows some may never forgive. But he hopes that his willingness to speak openly now, to own his role in what happened, will at least start a new chapter, one rooted in truth rather than performance. While he has lost many things, freedom, privacy, reputation, Todd says he has gained something that matters more: clarity. He no longer dreams of flashy homes or endless fame. He dreams of quiet mornings, simple connections, a restored name. He dreams of being someone his children can be proud of, not because of what he once owned, but because of what he learned. The road ahead remains uncertain. Appeals are in motion, but Todd is cautious in his optimism. He says he will accept whatever comes next with the grace he wishes he had shown earlier in life. For now, he focuses on the present, on rebuilding, even from behind bars, on teaching, even through regret, on speaking, not for applause, but for truth. There is a stillness in Todd's voice that was not there before, a calm that suggests not defeat, but awakening. He no longer feels the need to be perfect. He only feels the need to be real. And in sharing his story, in exposing the vulnerabilities that fame once concealed, he is finally finding something he never thought he would discover in the middle of a scandal: peace. This, he says, is not the end of his story. It is a reckoning, a pause, a painful but necessary reset. And when the day comes that he walks out into the world again, he hopes to do so not as a man chasing status, but as someone who understands that real success is built not on appearances, but on integrity. For now, Todd Chrisley waits for word from lawyers, waits for messages from family, waits for forgiveness from a public he once entertained. And while he waits, he shares, because silence, he now understands, only deepens the damage. In speaking up, in owning the truth, he hopes to help others avoid the path that led him here. Because if there is one thing Todd Chrisley has learned, it is this: the cost of pretending is far higher than the cost of honesty. And sometimes the fall is the only way to finally learn how to stand. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.